Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today is a very special episode. We're welcoming Matt Cuplin back onto the show. He is president and CEO of Midwest Financial Group, and I'm proud to announce an author in our most recent Business Leaders edition of Mission Matters, where he wrote about planning for success. Matt, welcome back to the show.
It's good to be here, Adam. Thanks for having me.
All right, Matt. So you're an author. You're in our books. We're out there. We got your name out. How do you feel?
It's cool. It was sort of a bucket list item that I wanted to do. Just I don't know why, but I always wanted to become an author. Working with you and the team here has been such an easy and fun process. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic, and we're going to we'll go further into your writing, and of course, Midwest Financial Group, and you also just recently won an award for Executive of the Year over in Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm excited to get into that as well. We got a lot to cover, Matt, but we'll start this episode the way that we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Matt, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Matt, what mission matters to you?
I'm in the business of helping people achieve their dreams, protect their families, maybe do things they never realized that they could. So I guess empowering people and just leaving the world a little bit better place than what I found it.
Yeah. It's awesome. I love having mission-based entrepreneurs and executives on the line to share why they do what they do, how they're doing it, and really what we can all learn from that, so that we can grow together. All right, so let's get this thing kicked off here. So I don't want to assume first off, Matt, that some of our newer listeners caught the previous work we've done together. So let's kind of start at the beginning here, and maybe just tell us a little bit more about how you got into finance.
Yeah, started early on. First thing right out of grad school, actually. I sat down. My parents were divorced. My mom wanted someone to meet with her financial planner. A health issue with cancer, and just wanted to know that another one of the family members would be aware of what was going on in her world if her health didn't pull through. And so I sat down and met with that person. They actually asked me, "Hey, what are you doing now that you're graduated?" And I said, "Well, I've got a master's degree, but not quite sure yet." And they said, "Well, maybe you should come learn about our industry and what it is and what you do." And I did, and I really never looked back. It's been great. So I started back in 2007, doing that for the same company that my mom's advisor worked for. Unfortunately, she passed away about a year after I got into this line of work. And when that happened, I wanted a fresh start somewhere else. And that's when I moved to Madison, Wisconsin, and joined the firm that I now own and operate with my team here. And it's been great. It's been very fulfilling, and I'm really glad that I took that meeting back with my mom's advisor years ago.
Yeah. And I see that, everybody's journey, whether they're entrepreneurs, executives, and wherever they're at in their career, always takes kind of these zigs and these zags that we can't always foresee. And in your case, you didn't go to college thinking you were going to be a financial advisor, like or to be in that business per se. So what would you say to maybe some of the individuals that are out there right now that are kind of in the middle of those zigs and zags, still kind of trying to find their way into, what's going to be their next thing, or what's going to be, their dream in life? What kind of things would you tell them?
I mean, some of it actually plays into some of the discussion that we'll have with the book, and I think it's just don't wait to have it all figured out before you begin to take your first steps. It just keep moving forward one step at a time. You don't have to have it all figured out before you get to working on it. And I think that if you do that, and you surround yourself with good people, try to surround yourself with good people, you'd be surprised how the rest of it sort of falls into place if you're keeping your eyes open and listening for what your calling is.
Yeah. And so I think that's a great transition, Matt. Let's just dive right into the book. Planning for Success was the title and the subject matter of your content and contribution to the book. What was the inspiration for this?
Planning, maybe I should have known that being a financial planner was more in my blood than I ever thought. Because I planning is almost second nature to me. It
Mm,
helps me sort of stay focused, keep on things, and whether it's being a financial advisor, being a husband or a parent, being an employer, to me, having the construct of a plan in lots of areas of life can be very helpful. And I know it's helped me.
yeah. And so, some of the notes I took from your chapter. So self-assess and define your goals, build your team, execute the plan, reassess and pivot, turn to the next generation. Now we won't cover all these today, but don't worry, everybody that's watching this, you better believe we have a link in the show notes, so you can click on the link and pick up a copy. So we do sell books here, but I do want to get your comments on some of them, Matt. So maybe let's just start off with the importance of building a team.
Yeah, once again, surround yourself with good people. I was so fortunate to have an amazing mentor when I first got into the industry, without whom I don't know if I would be exactly where I am today. And to have that opportunity, I guess whether I knew I was doing it or not, I was seeking one out,
Hmm.
and I certainly found one, and that led the start, right? And then it was, I've learned as you're forming a team, you can't always let your own biases get in the way. You know, a great example of that is my good friend and who's now the vice president of our firm and another advisor with me, Brandon. When we first met, it was oil and water. I mean, it just we just didn't rub each other the right way, and it's because we didn't really learn to communicate, and now we're business partners, and he is so complimentary to what I do and vice versa. There's no way that we could operate the firm without one another, and
Yeah.
if I wouldn't have kind of been open-minded to that and gave it some time to nurture and build, that would have been a huge mistake if I would have parted ways
Mhm.
with him. So sometimes you got to really open up your eyes on that.
Yeah.
And it's okay if some people are better than you. I think
Mhm.
in a leadership position, a lot of people want to try to think that they're the smartest person in the room, or that they've got it all figured out. But no one person can truly do everything. And if you can embrace that and empower the people around you to be better,
Yeah.
it creates even more loyalty, an even stronger team.
Mhm.
And we've been very fortunate with the entire group of advisors and insurance professionals and tax professionals and administrative support staff, like ownership, the whole way through.
Yeah.
We just really have a really good team right now. So,
Yeah.
but that's, to me, like I said, you've got to put some time into it. You got to nurture it. You got to plant your seeds. But it's amazing what they can grow to be.
Now, this is, many years later into the firm and into your career, but maybe let's stick to the early days. I know correct me if I'm wrong, you took over this practice at one point, and I'm guessing there were, different age groups, different, things involved with you taking over as a leader in the beginning. Like, do you remember those days?
It wasn't that long ago, maybe longer than I want to admit, but um, yeah, I leading by example, right?
Yeah.
So our industry, Adam, you spent some time in it at
Hmm.
one, chapter of your life. We're, if you're under 50 years old,
Yeah.
you're young, right? And I came in in my 20s, so I was
Yeah.
super young. So in order to even get the respect of clients, to get the respect of the other employees in the firm, I think
Hmm.
you got to put your head down and you got to do it. And they got to see that, hey, there's nothing that I'm asking of you that I wouldn't do myself. I'm not afraid to put the hard work in. And so I think early on, that was a big thing. But on the same hand, a lesson that I learned early on too was about balance, because At the time, I didn't have children. I've got three beautiful little girls now, 8, 6, and 3 years old. It's just my wife and I, and I probably didn't have a good, work-life balance, work-life harmony, if you will. And that also wasn't sustainable. So,
Mhm.
there's some lessons that I learned, real early on, thankfully, and recognize that. And I think that it just benefits me now. Here we are, um, 10 years later.
Yeah. So another thing that you wrote about in the book is really assessing and defining your goals. So I know, we hear about this all the time, but how many of us do it? As a financial planner, obviously that's, if you don't doing financial plans and helping people do this. This is what you live and do day in and day out. But what would be your advice here in terms of where people should start?
Well, you have to define what success even means, a successful plan being executed on. I mean, is it, if you're still working, is it more money? If you own a company, is it that? Is it being, if you're a parent, is it being at more events, or being more present, at
Mhm.
home with your spouse? Whatever it is, I think you gotta be very clear with defining it, because it could look totally different than the person sitting right next to you, and their goals. And then start with the end in mind. It goes back to what I mentioned earlier, where if you wait to get the perfect plan in place and
Mhm.
before you're going to move forward with it, it's sort of one of those, paralysis by analysis, right? You never actually get to doing it. And I think you got to see where you want to get to,
Yeah.
take steps incrementally towards that, one by one, and that's how you end up executing that plan. It's little bites every day. You
Yeah.
don't just jump to the end of the line. You gotta put the time in, and just keep moving forward.
Yeah. And so and from here, the natural progression in conversation for me is then, so we have these beautiful, great plans, right? And then something happens. There's a pandemic, there's a loss, there's something happens at work, or something happens in the company or the economy, or a downturn, or who knows. So reassess and pivot. Like when I read that piece of your chapter, I'm like, oh man, I think everyone now has that on their vocabulary, in some way, shape, or form. So, what are your thoughts on that after you have this beautifully outlined plan?
The best thing I can say about a beautiful plan is it won't work the way you designed it to, for the
Yeah,
most part. Usually, like you're setting yourself up for failure if you're going to be so stringent to that one plan. There's going to
yeah.
be deviations that are going to come up.
Mhm.
I think being able to adapt to that, or being willing to understand that, as long as you're still focused in the right direction,
Yeah.
you can still get there.
Mhm.
But you can't be so hardwired into thinking that there's only one way to get it done. Very rarely in life is there only one way to get to a result that
Mhm.
you're needing to achieve.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where you need to be honest with yourself. You take your blinders off a little bit,
Yeah.
and maybe even be willing to say that you were wrong with the plan, whatever that was that you're trying to accomplish, and the path that you're going to take. Maybe
Mhm.
new things come up that you didn't know at the time, and don't feel bad about making changes, as long as you're still moving forward and continue to move forward. I think, we saw that as a business with COVID. I mean, how many other people's lives, not just in the business world, but just your personal life, had to change, how to pivot. You're seeing your friends over Zoom, but at least you're still seeing them during that period of time.
Yeah.
You're no longer going into the office and working. You're working from home. Meanwhile, you're teaching your kids at the table right next to you. I mean, you just had to make it work. There's probably never a bigger example than 2020, to that here in people's most recent memory. So,
Mhm.
I'm sure we all are a little bit more prepared to make those pivots now than maybe we were before, because it was forced on us.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's probably a great life lesson that, would have liked to have learned in a different way. But I think we all probably got an exposure to that.
So I want to jump around here a bit. I know you had some big news here. I want to get into Midwest Financial Group, and I know that you had an acquisition last year. And I want to go into that too, and how it's working into your practice. And I know we're coming upon tax season right now, so I'm guessing is busy over there right now. So first off, again, for those that didn't catch our first work together, or our last episode, maybe give us a little bit of an overview of Midwest Financial Group to kick it off.
Yeah, for years we were just a very standard, I guess, financial planning firm. We worked with investments and some insurance solutions, and try to help individuals and business owners achieve their goals, and plan for all the different things, while they're working, while they're retired, after they're gone and no longer here, what's their legacy. um, and so much of that has to do with taxes. It's unavoidable, right?
Yeah.
And so over the last few years, we've expanded out. We've added a full-time Medicare specialist because healthcare is a big thing for people. We've added some employee benefits, so now business owners and their employees can get services. But then most recently,
Mhm.
we actually brought on a tax and accounting firm.
Mhm.
It was the firm that we had been using. The employees there, and the owner of that business, Carrie Apple, and her team. Carrie had been a friend of mine for a while, and we got to looking at, nowadays our industry has become a little bit commoditized by technology. If
Yeah.
you want a good mutual fund, you can Google it. If you want to do your own taxes, you can go online and get to TurboTax. So
Yeah.
technology has expanded things a lot, but at the end of the day, you still need that human element, I think, or a lot of people at least
Mhm.
would like it. And with what we do being so ingrained in the financial planning and taxation planning and all of that, it seemed like a natural fit. And so we got to talking with her, and the timing of bringing the two businesses together seemed to be perfect. And so now we're really a one-stop location for everything from the very basic and beginning of financial planning, to the very complex things on the other side of the spectrum. So it's been a really good marriage, of businesses. Not that it doesn't come with its own struggles when you bring two places
Yeah.
together into one, but I think we've worked really hard on getting that, all filtered out. And I'm really excited about this year, this tax season, which
Mhm.
is upon us as we speak. And then even more so, the long-term picture of being able to have all this, firepower in one place for people to come and get access to.
And it seems to me like just such a big win for, obviously even current clients, right? To be able to have all of that under one roof. I mean, when you think about the processes, when you think about saving them time, and when you think about the communication between the two, it seems like just overall, I mean, it's a big win, like for clients, the new and existing, right?
Yeah, and we don't want to infringe upon good relationships. There's lots of great advisors, lots of great tax professionals out there here locally in
Yep.
Madison, Wisconsin. And if someone has that, we want to continue to nurture that. But we also know that a lot of people would like access to all of that in one place. And so,
Mhm.
our goal is to continue to support the relationships that may exist outside of our walls, but then also open it up for everybody here, to have access to in one place. So far, about a year or so into it, it's been met, with a ton of positivity from both the tax clients who now have access to financial advisors, and from the financial planning clients who now have access to tax professionals and accountants. So, um, off to a good start.
Yeah. What are the typical types of clients that you find get the most value out of working with you and your team at Midwest Financial Group? Is it for business owners? Is it for, the normal W-2 owner? I mean, or wage earner? What is any specific industries you specialize in? Maybe give us a feel for that.
I wouldn't
Or is it
say
across the board?
it's a little bit across the board. There's definitely not one industry. I know some of my peers at different places only work with doctors or only work with teachers, things like
Hmm.
that. Here locally, we've got such a cross section of population that, we don't have one industry focus.
Hmm.
I would say that business owners, up to 50 employees or so, tend to be a real sweet spot, and that's a hard spot where, some of these smaller companies don't. You know, to get access to a place like us that has everything in one place,
Hmm.
they're they're not big enough, right? They don't they can't get access to some of those bigger firms that do everything in one place. They're just not big enough. Well, we'll work with them and we'll be happy to do that. And on the individual side, it's tough too. I always say we work with missionaries to millionaires,
Yeah.
whether it's somebody just starting off and in need of guidance or help, or whether it's somebody way far down the line, already into retirement that just wants to make sure they're doing everything right, that they leave a legacy to the people that they care about.
Mhm.
It can really take a lot of different forms. So I don't mean to be vague with that, but I think we're really proud of the fact that if someone if they're good people and they want help and they value, the help that a professional can bring, we'll make time to help them any day of the week.
All right, Matt. So I know the announcement was just came out, Executive of the Year in Madison, Wisconsin. I know you're a humble guy, but man, how this come about? This is a big deal.
It is a big deal. Locally, there's a publication called In Business. It's for Madison, Wisconsin, and the surrounding area. I found out about a month or so ago that I was recognized as Executive of the Year in one of their categories here. Um, Really
Doesn't
humbled by
surprise me,
that.
Matt. We Matt does not surprise me. We pick good authors for our books. Let me plug ourselves here. Go ahead. Sorry, had to.
No, hey, I appreciate that, and yeah, I mean it's tough. I it really is a reflection of the entire firm. The team that we have here, it's not just me. I may be the one picking up the award tomorrow, actually. But I was super excited that I invited, all of my team to be there if they want to, if they can make it, and to share in the recognition. I mean, it's just it, I'll tell you one quick story about it. So I remember when I first moved up here in 2008, looking at this magazine and looking at the people that would get this recognition and things like that. And at that time, I mean, I was so new and so
Mhm.
much I didn't know. And I always wondered, how do you get to that level?
Yeah.
It's pretty surreal to be recognized in that, because I very distinctly remember every year seeing that issue come out, about this
Mhm.
time, and so I was pretty excited, to have that light be shined on the firm, because I think
Mhm.
what we're doing here deserves it. But it yeah, that was pretty cool.
It's awesome. Well, Matt, have to say it has been great having you on the show again, and I'm excited to continue promoting your book that you have with us, and that you wrote. That being said, what's next? I mean, I know you got a lot on your plate with the firms. You got a lot going on. What's next for you? What's next for Midwest Financial Group?
You know what? We're just gonna, like I said, we take it one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
I really think if you're not growing, whether it's personal development or the
Hmm.
business or the bottom line, then you're shrinking, right? So we just need to continue to deliver on indispensable service. If we keep treating people right, the rest of it will all fall into place. And we can't control what the markets do. We can't control what the government and tax laws do. We can't control a lot of things, but we can absolutely control, the type of care and service, and empathy that we give to the people that we help. And so one of the big things that we tell our team all the time is that has to be first. I mean, that gold level standard when it comes to service and care has to be first, and the rest will all take care of itself. So it's been a busy last year or two, so I'm okay if it calms down a little bit, but we'll keep taking steps forward, and I'm excited to see how this new combined firm goes. Excited to see people's reaction to the book as they get a chance to take a look at it. I'm really proud of that. So just like I said, just taking it one step at a time, keep moving forward.
So, Matt, if somebody's watching this and they want to learn more and to connect with you and your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, I mean, our website, MFG, so Midwest Financial Group, mfgteam.com, has got a ton of information on there. There's videos and educational pieces, bios on all of our team and our services. And, we work with people here locally, but let's face it, a lot of people who live in Wisconsin don't always want to stay here in the winter. So we have
Yeah.
clients all around the United States at this point. So yeah, there's really anymore nowadays.
Mhm,
We help people all over the place. So
mhm,
check out the firm. You can reach me directly. You can always call and ask for me. You can get our number from the website. You can email me. It's right on the website. So
mhm.
um, I would just encourage them. And if it's not us, I do think our profession, our industry is a very noble and important one. So I would encourage everyone to begin to try to find a relationship with someone that they can trust to help navigate these things. And if it can be us, that'd be great.
Fantastic. And we'll put all that information in the show notes so that our audience can just click on the links and head right on over and check out your firm. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters or engaging in an episode or listening to the content, we're all about bringing on business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and having them share their mission, the reason behind their mission, their story, and really what we can all learn from that so that we all grow together. The whole point of the platform, we all want to learn and grow together. If that's the type of content that sounds interesting or fun or exciting to you, hit that subscribe button because we have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Matt, I'm thrilled to have published your work. I'm excited to continue to promote it. And again, congrats again on the award. You deserve it. And thanks again for coming on the show.
Nah, thanks, Adam. This has been a lot of fun. I'm really glad that I followed through and worked with the team and your team on this. It was such an easy and rewarding process. So I appreciate what you guys do, giving us an avenue to do something like this.
Awesome.